Hi there, welcome to my channel. My name is Sandra and you're watching The Chauvin's Nest. Today's video is sponsored by Hiipoo. I'm going to be making some of this beautiful Christmas decor using their Waterslide decals and their heat transfer paper. So if you'd like to be able to make some inexpensive Christmas decor really creatively, keep watching. My first project is going to be using the Waterslide decal paper. There's a shiny side and a matte side. You're going to need to print out your design on the shiny side, and using an inkjet printer is better, but it's not necessary. Then you're going to give it 3 good coats of a matte clear spray finish. I like to use Rust-Oleum. I've just had lots of success with that one. And you can see here that I am really giving it a good coat. I'm going to show you how shiny I get this decal paper. And this is what I do 3 times over. I just make sure that it's totally saturated with the clear. You can see the gloss on there. It's going to dry, and then I'm going to do this 2 more times. I also like to let my designs cure overnight so they're good and dry. I'm going to be using this huge enamel pot that I picked up at a thrift store. On the one side, it says Fresh Eggs Daily. I can't get that off, so that's okay. I'm going to flip it around and use the other side. I like to use either alcohol or pure acetone to clean my projects. That gets any of the sticky residue off and makes sure that they're really nice and clean. I created this design using a bunch of free printables and the text with my Cricut Design Space app, and I'll have this, of course, as a free printable on my website. The link will be down in my description box. So what I'm going to do now is just take a pair of scissors and just cut this fairly close to all of the letters on the outside. I'm not going to do it individually. It's going to be one big piece. Here's what it looks like all cut out. I'm going to take it to my bathroom sink and dunk it in some really nice warm water. I'll show you that process in a little bit. But what I'm doing here is prepping my item. So you need to put a little bit of water on your item. Not a lot. You don't want it dripping, but you want to be able to have some water to make the decal slide better, and then you can move it around and adjust it if you need to. As you can see here, I have just gently pushed up the decal, so a little bit of the decal is on my item already. And then I'm going to just pull the paper out really gently and slowly from underneath because I don't want to stretch anything out. This one is a little bigger, so it was a little tricky to work with, but I did get it. And look at that. I just stretch this out and make it nice and smooth, and I've got a beautiful decal on my bucket. I just love it. I am so in love with doing water slide decals. They are really inexpensive as well, so please go down to my description box, click on the link, get yourself some water slide decals, and make some beautiful Christmas decor or everyday decor. Next, I like to just use a soft tissue, and I'm pushing the water out from underneath. That's going to allow the decal to adhere to my bucket. So you have to take your time. You've got to be patient. Just make sure you're getting all of the bubbles out. Then I like to let it sit for a while on its own. I just kind of set it aside, and then I come back maybe 2 or 3 minutes later and do this again, just to make sure that all the bubbles are out and it's nice and smooth. And here's a gorgeous design on my white enamel bucket. I am in love. This is going to be on display, and it's going to be holding all of my sunflower seeds for the birds. Thanks to all of you who have already subscribed. If you haven't and you're new to my channel, I would love for you to. For this second project, I'm also using the Waterslide decals, and I've printed out a whole bunch of trees in a row. My idea is to have them on this white mug. So what I'm going to do is just cut them out. I don't need too much of the stems, so I'm going to just cut the bottom off and then go around the trees with my detail scissors. I've cut my trees into sections and now I'm putting them into some really nice warm water. You don't want it to be hot, but you want it to be really warm. And I'm holding them down until they don't curl anymore. I'm going to leave them in the water for about 45 to 60 seconds. Any longer than that, and you risk the decal lifting off from the paper, which doesn't give you much control. I'm ready to apply it to the mug, and what I'm going to do again is just push it off a little bit from the paper and then add that decal right onto my mug. I'm going to hold my finger on the decal portion and slide the paper out. It's that simple. Then you're just gently going to press it down where you need it to be. The water on the bottom of the mug, where I've prepped just like I did my enamel jug, is going to give me the ability to just slide it around and position it the way I need it to be. So go ahead and try this technique. The links for all of the Hiipoo products are going to be down in my description box. They're really inexpensive products to use, but you get such beautiful high-end results. I'm going to continue this process with these Christmas trees until I've covered the whole bottom of the mug. I wanted to have a pair of little mugs, so I printed off some pine cones, and I'm going to do the same thing, just prepping my surface with a little bit of water. But I found something out. I have these smaller decals that I'm using here, and I was able to pull off the paper right away and then just take the decal itself and place it where I needed it to be. It was a really fun surprise that I came across. And so make sure that when you're working with these, if you want to just take it off the paper itself and go ahead and place it on just like I'm doing here, by all means, go right ahead and do that. Whatever works best for you. Again, using a soft tissue just to dab and push the water out from underneath. Just be really careful with this part. You don't want to tear the decal. I love how these turned out. You're going to have to let me know if you like them too. The Hiipoo heat transfer sheets are very similar looking to contact paper. They have a grid on the back and then a blank on the front. You're going to print your image onto the front, and you're going to notice that it's not as bright or vibrant as you would want it to be. That's okay. The heat is going to bring out all of that ink. What you're going to do then is gently peel off the backing, and you're going to be left with a piece of vinyl that has your design on it. I decided to try putting this image onto wood, so I'm using this bamboo cutting board from the Dollar Tree. You're also going to want to put this grease-proof paper on top. It comes in the package with the heat transfer paper. I'm using my Cricut Easy Press, but you can also just use a regular iron for this. Just make sure the iron is not also used for your clothing. You want to have a separate craft iron. I'm doing this at about 340 degrees. That's what's on the instructions, but I think for wood it needs to be less hot because what happened is some of it was transferring and some of it wasn't. And when you take a look at it here, you can see the different colors there. Some of it didn't actually transfer over. So this is where I made my mistake. I went over it a little too hard and it started to bubble up. So the part that was already transferred ended up almost burning and bubbling. But I still love how this little project turned out. So as I pulled the greaseproof paper up, you can see that I got a little bit of the ink right onto the paper. You can see that it started to bubble up here a little bit, but I'm a rustic girl, so I'm okay with how it turned out. I'm going to add some little embellishments to this sign. I'm using some sort of an off-white cotton rope that I picked up at the hardware store, and I'm just going to frame out the picture all the way around. After I was looking at this for a while, I decided I didn't like the color of the bamboo, so I'm just going to use my burnt umber acrylic paint and very lightly just add sort of a stained look all the way around. I did add a little bit of water to the brush as well, so just dipping it every once in a while, just a teeny bit, to get it more of a washed look than a solid color. Using some of the red and white baker's twine from the Dollar Tree, I'm going to wrap it around a few times on either side of the picture just to give it a little bit more character. Don't forget to click on that notification bell so YouTube lets you know whenever I upload some new videos. I've got lots more Christmas DIYs in store for you. I decided to add a few more little embellishments. These pine picks are my favorite. I get them from Amazon, and I do have the link down in my description box. I'm going to add a few red berries, and then I'm going to use the same cotton rope that I used around the frame to give it a hanger. With the cotton rope, I like to tie off the ends. That just gives the hot glue a little bit more to stick to when I glue it onto the sign. I'm also going to take some of the red and white baker's twine and wrap it around the cotton twine just to give it more of a festive look. I tied the baker's twine off on each end and then hot glued the rope to the sign. I really think this turned out cute, even with the little oops on my design. This next project is also using the heat transfer paper. I printed off a beautiful design, and what I'm going to do is take one of these Dollar Tree dish drying mats. It's a cute little buffalo check pattern, which is my favorite, and I'm going to make a little placemat out of it. When you're working with fabric, it's always a good idea to make sure that it's nice and crease free, but also just to warm it up a little bit. Here's the design I created for this. Now keep in mind that whenever you're doing something with the heat transfer paper and as well as the water slide decal, there won't be any white showing. So if you have any white in your design, it's going to show up clear. So this is kind of an off-white color. It has a little bit of gray in the background, but it didn't show up as well as I would have liked it to. So I've just got to keep that in mind for next time to get a little bit of a darker color for my background. Again, this will be available as a free printable on my website. Peeling off the back, I'm left with my design on something that feels a little bit like vinyl. Then I'm going to use the greaseproof paper one more time and heat transfer my image right onto my placemat. It turns out really pretty. I really love using the Hiipoo products. These water slide and heat transfer papers are so easy to use. Please make sure you give me a thumbs up and hit that notification bell. Thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate each and every one of you. Bye for now.